I couldn't imagine spending my life with just one person. And now I can't imagine spending one day of it without you.
The Big Bang Theory made us laugh for years. But what about the stars when the camera stopped rolling? Some found lasting love, while others faced surprising twists in their relationships. Which couple's story will shock you the most? And whose romance feels straight out of a sitcom? Join us as we reveal the cast members and their real-life partners. Today, a comedy done right. Few shows manage to capture audiences the way The Big Bang Theory did. From its very first season, it became a global hit, pulling in millions of viewers each week. For 12 years, it held its place as one of television's brightest comedies. Even after its final episode aired in 2019, people still returned to it because it was simply well-made and endlessly entertaining. The setup was simple, but effective. Four brilliant but socially clumsy scientists, Leonard, Sheldon, Howard, and Raj, lived their lives surrounded by comic books, video games, and awkward interactions. Then came Penny, the lively neighbor whose warmth balanced out their world of equations and experiments. Over time, the circle grew with Amy, Bernadette, and Stuart. The growing ensemble kept the show lively, and their friendships made the stories feel both funny and relatable. The breakout star, Sheldon Cooper, played by Jim Parsons, became a television icon.
For example, tonight, no one needs to know that my middle name is Leaky.
His combination of genius, arrogance, and childlike honesty created comedy gold. What kept him interesting, though, was his growth. He remained quirky and blunt, but he slowly learned about love, empathy, and compromise. Parsons' performance was pitch perfect, earning him multiple awards and the love of fans worldwide. Still, the heart of the show wasn't just Sheldon. It was the group itself. Leonard and Penny's romance gave the series its emotional core. Howard and Raj's over-the-top friendship brought warmth, and Penny's hilarious clashes with Sheldon became instant classics. When Amy and Bernadette joined,
So what time does the costume parade start?
The parade?
they elevated the humor and gave the series new energy. Each character mattered, and together they created a cast that felt like family. The comedy itself was sharp and playful. The writers mixed smart jokes with light-hearted silliness, keeping every episode filled with moments that made audiences laugh out loud. Some gags became running jokes, some tapped into nerd culture, and others simply showed the chaos of everyday life. And while not every joke hit perfectly, the consistency across 279 episodes was remarkable. Of course, the show wasn't flawless. Some storylines felt stretched, and a few characters, like Raj, didn't always get the strongest arcs. But even with its shortcomings, the charm of The Big Bang Theory never faded. Fans kept tuning in because the humor was genuine, the cast was talented, and the writing knew how to balance laughter with heart. Looking back, it's easy to see why the show lasted so long and why it remains beloved today. However, after the show ended, the cast moved on with other aspects of their lives, and some even found love. Who are some of the cast that found love, and where are they today? Johnny Galecki and Kaley Cuoco's real-life romance. On The Big Bang Theory, Leonard and Sheldon often seemed like the least likely guys to land a date. Off-screen, though, the actors who played them, Johnny Galecki and Jim Parsons, managed to figure out their own love lives. For Galecki, that even included a real-life romance with his on-screen partner, Kaley Cuoco. Although Leonard and Penny didn't officially get together on the show until season 3, sparks were flying between Galecki and Cuoco from the very beginning. Cuoco admitted she had a huge crush on Galecki during the early days of filming. Their chemistry carried through season 1 as their characters teased a relationship, but behind the scenes, the two finally acted on it.
Pretty good.
Just pretty good? I'd think you were doing very good.
In 2008, Galecki and Cuoco began dating, keeping their relationship private for 2 years before parting ways in 2010. Unlike many Hollywood couples, their breakup didn't create drama. Instead, they stayed friends and kept working side by side as their characters continued to grow closer on screen. Cuoco later shared a funny twist. After their split, she noticed their scripts suddenly included more kissing and intimate scenes. She joked that creator Chuck Lorre might have been teasing them by adding extra romantic moments for Leonard and Penny. Though their romance didn't last, Galecki and Cuoco's ability to laugh about it and remain close made their story almost as entertaining as the show itself. Was it the same for Johnny Galecki? Johnny Galecki's life beyond the screen. Johnny Galecki's personal life has seen a few major turns since his Big Bang Theory days. In 2018, the actor, then 43, began dating model Elena Meyer, who was 21 at the time. The couple often shared their happiness publicly, appearing together on red carpets and posting photos online. A year later, they welcomed a son, Avery, in 2019. Though fans loved seeing Galecki in the role of a doting dad, the relationship didn't last. By 2020, the pair announced their split, though they continued co-parenting their little boy. Not long after, Galecki found love again. In 2024, he surprised fans by revealing that he had married Morgan Galecki. The two had already welcomed a daughter, and while the couple had been together since at least 2023, they kept their relationship mostly private.
But who cares what Penny thinks? Leslie is a terrific girl. She's attractive.
Unlike his past romances, this one has been low-key, with only a few glimpses of their life shared through Galecki's social media posts. Today, the Galeckis are raising their 2 children in Nashville, Tennessee. Though they tend to avoid the spotlight, the few details shared suggest a happy and grounded family life. Galecki, who spent years in the fast-paced Hollywood scene, now seems settled into a quieter lifestyle centered around love, parenthood, and privacy. It's a different kind of role for the actor, best known as Leonard Hofstadter, but one that suits him well. Far from the chaos of sitcom tapings, Galecki now seems most comfortable in the simple joys of family. While Galecki leaned into a quieter life, his co-star Kaley Cuoco found herself swept up in a whirlwind romance that quickly captured headlines: her marriage to Ryan Sweeting. Kaley Cuoco's whirlwind, marriage to Ryan Sweeting. Kaley Cuoco's first marriage was as fast-moving as it was short-lived. In August 2013, she met professional tennis player Ryan Sweeting, and their relationship took off almost instantly. Within weeks of dating, the couple had moved in together, and by September, they were engaged. Just a few months later, on New Year's Eve of 2013, Cuoco walked down the aisle in a glamorous ceremony that felt like a fairy tale. At first, their whirlwind romance seemed like something out of a movie. Fans were surprised by the speed of it all, but the pair appeared deeply in love and inseparable. For a while, it looked like Cuoco had found her happily ever after.
No, not really. Listen, didn't you say you needed some eggs?
Yes,
But the fast-paced romance didn't last. By 2015, less than 2 years after saying "I do," Cuoco and Sweeting filed for divorce. At the time, she stayed quiet about the details, leaving fans puzzled about what had gone wrong so quickly. It wasn't until years later that Cuoco opened up about the painful end of her marriage. "I married someone the first time who completely changed," she admitted. "The person I ended up with was not the person I originally met. And that wasn't my fault. That was his. I knew how much I had to give and how much I wanted to receive." While Galecki leaned into a quieter life, his co-star Kaley Cuoco found herself swept up in a whirlwind romance that quickly captured headlines: her marriage to Ryan Sweeting. Kaley Cuoco and Carl Cook, a love built on animals. After her fast-paced romance with Ryan Sweeting, Kaley Cuoco seemed to find a calmer, more grounded connection with equestrian Carl Cook. The two met at a horse event in 2016, sharing a love for animals that quickly brought them together. By 2017, they were engaged, and less than a year later, they married in a small, intimate ceremony. Cuoco often spoke about Cook's gentle nature. "I think anyone who works with animals has to have a kind soul," she said. "He's almost like a horse whisperer, so patient, so gentle." It's really beautiful to see their wedding, held at a horse stable, reflected that love for animals. Cuoco explained that when she first visited his ranch, she imagined her wedding there and later saw that vision come true, a small personal celebration with family and close friends. For a while, Cuoco called Cook her perfect match.
Oh, not much. Well, we do have a chocolate key lime that's moving pretty well.
Their shared interests and aligned lifestyles made the relationship feel effortless, and fans admired how happy the couple appeared together. But even a seemingly perfect romance can face challenges. In 2021, Cuoco and Cook announced they were heading in opposite directions and filed for divorce. While their marriage didn't last, their time together reflected a genuine connection built on shared passions and admiration. Though brief, Cuoco's relationship with Cook showed her desire for meaningful love, a connection rooted in mutual respect and understanding. In 2022, she crossed paths with actor Tom Pelphrey, a meeting arranged by their mutual manager that blossomed into love at first sight. Could this finally be the lasting love she had been searching for? Kaley Cuoco and Tom Pelphrey. In 2022, Kaley Cuoco found love once again, this time with actor Tom Pelphrey. Their meeting was arranged by their shared manager, who immediately saw the potential for a perfect match. For Cuoco, it was love at first sight. The connection was instant, sparking a romance that quickly became serious. The couple made their red carpet debut in September 2022, showing off their undeniable chemistry. Just a month later, fans were thrilled to hear that Cuoco and Pelphrey were expecting a child. In March 2023, the couple welcomed their daughter.
You're really smart.
Yeah, I'm a frickin' genius.
Matilda Carmine Richie Pelphrey, marking a joyful new chapter in their lives. Since then, they've shared glimpses of their happy family life, keeping fans enchanted by their bond. Their love has been steady and warm, contrasting some of the whirlwind romances Cuoco experienced in the past. In August 2024, the couple announced their engagement, taking another exciting step forward together. But while Cuoco's story has been filled with twists and turns, what about Jim Parsons, whose love story with Todd Spywak has stood the test of time? Jim Parsons and Todd Spywak, a love that lasted. Jim Parsons, best known as the brilliant and quirky Sheldon Cooper, found his real-life match in Todd Spywak. The two met on a blind date in 2002, and it was the beginning of a long-lasting relationship. Despite being together for a decade, Parsons kept their relationship private, only revealing it in 2012. Marriage wasn't a priority for either of them initially. They were happy building a life together without the formalities, focusing on love and companionship rather than a wedding ceremony. Still, in 2017, the couple finally tied the knot in an elegant ceremony at New York City's Rainbow Room.
And he's either with Leslie Winkle or a 1930s gangster.
Parsons described the day as even more meaningful than he had imagined. It was so much more meaningful in the moment for me than I predicted, and it's been resonantly much more meaningful for me afterward than I ever saw coming, he said. Their relationship has remained steady and loving. Beyond their marriage, the couple has built a small but happy family that includes 3 dogs, reflecting their shared love for a simple and joyful life together. But how did things turn out for Simon Helberg, whose journey with Jocelyn Town led to a love story with its own happy ending? Simon Helberg and Jocelyn Town, love and a happy ending. Simon Helberg, who brought Howard Wolowitz to life on The Big Bang Theory, has enjoyed a steady and loving marriage with Jocelyn Town. The two tied the knot in 2007, the same year the show first aired, and they have been together ever since. Their family includes 2 children, a son named Wilder and a daughter named Adeline, rounding out their happy household. What makes their story especially interesting is how Helberg turned part of their real-life romance into art. In 2014, he wrote and co-directed the film
What's up, fellas? If anyone gets lucky, I've got a dozen condoms in my quiver.
We'll Never Have Paris, inspired by a breakup and reconciliation he experienced with Town. The movie, while fictionalized, reflects the ups and downs of their early relationship and his determined efforts to win her back. The film ultimately mirrors reality. Their love endured. The couple's ability to overcome challenges early on set the stage for a long, committed marriage. Fans of Helberg often admire how his personal life mirrors the warmth and humor he brings to Howard on screen. But what about Mayim Bialik, whose journey after the Big Bang Theory combined both personal love and professional partnership with Jonathan Cohen? Mayim Bialik and Jonathan Cohen. Mayim Bialik, known to fans of the Big Bang Theory as the quirky and brilliant Amy Farrah Fowler, has had her share of love stories off-screen as well. She was married to Michael Stone for a decade, from 2003 until 2013. Together, they built a family and are proud parents to two sons, Miles and Frederick. Even though their marriage ended, Bialik has often spoken warmly about raising her children and co-parenting with Stone. After her divorce, Bialik eventually found love again with Jonathan Cohen, someone she had known for more than 10 years. While the couple tends to keep their relationship private, they have allowed fans a small glimpse into their partnership through their work together. The two co-host a podcast called Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, which dives into mental health, relationships, and life's many challenges. Their teamwork on the show highlights the natural bond they share, both as friends and partners. Fans often note how genuine and supportive their dynamic feels, making it clear that their connection runs deep. Though they don't often make their private life public, it's obvious that Bialik and Cohen have found comfort and happiness with one another. With her successful career, her role as a mother, and a supportive partner by her side, Bialik's story reflects resilience, growth, and the beauty of finding love again. Meanwhile, Kunal Nayyar's path to lasting romance took a different turn. One that began in 2008 when he first met Neha Kapoor and instantly felt she was far beyond his reach. Could fate have proven him wrong? Kunal Nayyar and Neha Kapoor, a love story across distance. Kunal Nayyar, best known as Raj on The Big Bang Theory, has enjoyed a lasting romance in real life with his wife, Neha Kapoor. The two first crossed paths in 2008 at a bar opening, and for Nayyar, it was love at first sight. Reflecting on that moment, he once shared, "My first thought was, this is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. My second thought was, she's way out of my league." Despite those doubts, the spark between them was undeniable. After their first meeting, Nayyar and Kapoor began a relationship that wasn't always easy, as they had to navigate the challenges of long distance. Yet, instead of pulling them apart, the separation only made their bond stronger. By 2011, they decided to tie the knot, marking the start of a new chapter together. Kapoor, a model and former Miss India, has built a career of her own while supporting Nayyar through his journey in Hollywood. The couple is often admired for the way they complement each other, balancing glamour, success, and a grounded partnership. Although the pair have chosen not to have children, their relationship is full of love and respect. Nayyar and Kapoor's story is a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful connections begin with a single, unexpected encounter. More than a decade later, they continue to share their lives with one another, proving that real love can endure, even in the spotlight. If the series was that good, and people loved it, why did it end? Why The Big Bang Theory came to an end. For years, The Big Bang Theory felt like one of those shows that would never stop running. Just like how a Marvel movie always seems to be in theaters or a classic rock station always plays Don't Stop Believin', every fall fans could count on new episodes of this nerdy but lovable sitcom. From its 2007 debut, the series about Sheldon, Leonard, Penny, and friends only grew more popular, eventually becoming the longest-running multi-camera comedy in American TV history with 12 seasons. But in 2019, the laughter finally faded. The biggest reason? Jim Parsons, the actor behind Sheldon Cooper, decided it was time to move on. Parsons had already achieved fame, fortune, and critical success, winning 4 Emmys and earning millions each year. After 12 years of playing the same character, he was ready for new challenges, like theater projects and other acting roles. Reports even suggested he turned down a massive $50 million deal to stay on for more seasons. For Parsons, who brought the socially awkward yet brilliant Sheldon Cooper to life, the choice was less about drama and more about timing. In his view, the series had accomplished everything it set out to do. After years of storylines, character growth, and endless experiments in both love and science, he believed the show had naturally reached its limit. It wasn't about problems behind the scenes or dissatisfaction. It was simply that the creative well had been tapped dry, and stretching it further might risk diluting the magic that made the sitcom special. There was also a personal side to the decision. Parsons, in his mid-40s as the show neared its finale, felt the years catching up with him. Playing Sheldon required embodying a younger, eccentric man whose wardrobe was frozen in time, with bright superhero shirts and comic book logos that worked perfectly for a quirky genius but didn't match the actor's stage in life. Parsons admitted that the thought of continuing to wear those youthful costumes into his late 40s didn't sit quite right. It was a gentle reminder that television characters never age, but actors inevitably do. When Parsons told co-creator Chuck Lorre he was leaving, Lorre made a tough choice. Rather than try to rework the show without Sheldon, he decided to end it altogether. At a cast meeting in 2018, Parsons tearfully announced Season 12 would be his last. Immediately after, Lorre told the rest of the cast that it would be everyone's last. While the main series ended, Sheldon Cooper didn't vanish from television altogether. CBS, knowing the character's cultural weight, had already prepared a successor in young Sheldon. The spin-off dives into Sheldon's formative years in Texas, exploring how a brilliant yet socially misplaced child coped in a world that rarely understood him. Although Parsons no longer stepped into Sheldon's shoes on screen, he stayed connected by narrating the young genius's adventures, adding his voice and presence to the show. But Jim Parsons' decision to leave wasn't the only reason for the show ending. The next one is shocking. The cast was ready for the curtain call. While Jim Parsons' decision to leave became the final push that ended the Big Bang Theory, he wasn't the only star feeling ready to move on.
Interestingly, they don't actually put the fork in their mouth. They use it to put the food on a spoon, which then goes into their mouth.
Johnny Galecki, who played the lovable Leonard Hofstadter, had already hinted that Season 12 might be the perfect time to say goodbye. Speaking at the Television Critics Association's Winter Press Tour in 2018, Galecki explained that while the cast would be sad when the show wrapped, 12 seasons felt like a full and satisfying run. For him, it was the right moment to step away and spend more time with family. When the announcement finally came, the rest of the cast met the news with a mix of gratitude and sadness. Kaley Cuoco, forever remembered as Penny, poured her emotions into an Instagram post, calling the show a dream come true and as life-changing as it gets. She admitted her heart would always feel broken when it ended, but promised fans one final season filled with love and laughter. Kunal Nayyar, known for his role as Raj, shared his feelings in a heartfelt note online. He wrote that words could never capture the love he felt for the fans who supported them, adding that the bond they created was endless. Mayim Bialik, who played Amy Farrah Fowler, was equally honest in her blog, saying she wasn't happy to see it end, but remained deeply thankful for her job, her castmates, and the loyal fans who made it all possible. Even though the cast was clearly ready for a new chapter, a story isn't truly finished until the final curtain falls. Did the Big Bang Theory really fulfill its purpose before saying goodbye? The stories had reached their end. Although Jim Parsons' departure set the wheels in motion and Chuck Lorre refused to imagine the show without Sheldon, another truth lingered in the background. The Big Bang Theory had simply told most of the stories it could. After nearly 300 episodes, the writers had explored almost every angle of life for Sheldon, Leonard, Penny, Raj, Howard, Bernadette, and Amy. Over 12 years, viewers watched the characters grow in ways that sitcoms rarely allow. The awkward young scientists who once obsessed over comic books and awkward dating slowly transformed into adults with marriages, families, and impressive careers. Leonard and Penny built a future together. Sheldon and Amy found love and professional triumph, and Howard and Bernadette raised a family, while Raj navigated his struggles with relationships and identity. Their journeys felt full, their arcs complete. In the end, the show had tied up most of its long-running threads. Even the infamous broken elevator, a running gag from the very beginning, was finally repaired, a subtle signal that the story had come full circle. The cast didn't express bitterness about the show's closure. With enormous success, historic ratings, and paychecks that made television history, they had much to celebrate rather than mourn. For them, and for the writers, the timing felt right.
This is a natural human process, and we're talking about statistically significant savings.
Continuing might have stretched thin a story that had already been told beautifully. Ending on a high note allowed The Big Bang Theory to remain a comedy remembered for its charm, rather than its decline. But because the cast were happy, doesn't mean they did not encounter challenges. What are some of the challenges that they faced? Behind-the-scenes challenges and changing times. Another factor that signaled the end of The Big Bang Theory was the looming contract negotiations. When a show reaches enormous popularity, networks can't simply cancel it. They need the cast on board to keep the money machine running. By the late seasons, Jim Parsons, Johnny Galecki, and Kaley were each earning around $900,000 per episode, close to the legendary million-dollar salaries of the Friends cast. With season 12 wrapping up, the deals signed in 2017, CBS and Warner Brothers would soon have to renegotiate with the stars. That uncertainty added tension, and once Parsons revealed he was leaving, talks became irrelevant. At the same time, the series felt like a product of another era. While it still dominated ratings, the show's traditional format, multi-camera filming with a laugh track, was becoming outdated in a TV world leaning towards single-camera comedies like its spin-off Young Sheldon. Audiences were evolving, and so was comedy. There was also growing cultural criticism. In the wake of the #MeToo movement, some of the show's older storylines drew backlash. Critics pointed out moments that hadn't aged well, such as jokes involving spying on women or playing harassment for laughs. While fans still tuned in, the shift in public perspective made the humor feel dated. Together, the combination of expensive contracts, changing tastes, and cultural scrutiny made ending the show at its peak the wiser choice, allowing it to close on a high note rather than struggle to keep up with a changing world. Who was your favorite character from the show? And if it ever continued, would you tune in again? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.